and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here and you like the content, please make sure you hit like and subscribe. So today, by popular request, we are taking a look at this guitar right here. And a lot of you guys with keen eyes commented in a video I posted about a week or two ago, hey, you got a new guitar. What is that thing? So today's your lucky day. I'm gonna tell you. Alright, so as you've probably already noticed by the title of this video, and of course the headstock, this is a Cort. This is a Cort VX-4V guitar. These were made, I think, around 2010-ish, and they were made in Indonesia by, of course, Cort. If you're not familiar with the brand Cort, they've been around for quite some time. I think they were founded in the early 70s, 73 or so. So what Cort stands for is actually Cortec Corporation. They are based out of Seoul, Korea, and they've been around since the early 70s, I think 1973-ish. They make all kinds of guitars for other manufacturers. There's probably a good chance you've already played a Cort and not even known it. Like, I mean, seriously, they make guitars for brands like PRS, I think with the SE line, Squire, they've definitely made some. Ibanez is one of the big ones they make them for as well, and I'm thinking the G&L Tribute series. Anyway, again, they've made guitars for brands beyond that. If you know of any other ones, please leave me a comment below. Anyway, so I bought this thing on the cheap, just, you know, in a guitar store buying something unrelated. It was hanging on a wall, it was a whopping $200, and I thought, that's a pretty good deal. I've been looking for a Rhoads V for a while, but I was looking more at the cheaper Jacksons, and yeah, I thought, hey, this looks pretty cool. I mean, it's got this pickguard on it, which is kind of a cross between like a Jackson style and a Gibson Flying V. I dig it. Picked it up, took it for a spin. I liked it, bought it, took it home, and yeah, so far so good. So I'm gonna give you kind of, you know, the specs and the overview on that kind of stuff. If you're interested in things like tones and all that, please make sure you go more towards the back of the video. Just follow the timestamps, and that's where the sounds will be. Obviously, if you look at this one, you're probably thinking, you know, I've never really seen one that quite looks like that. And you'd be right. I've modified this. This did not come like this at all. This came actually just plain black. I added the polka dots. These are just vinyl stickers that are high quality. And I added the inlays as well, which I don't know if you can see up close here, are Space Invaders. Yeah, these are Space Invaders like from the video game. And there's a reason for that too, but I'll talk about that more a little bit later on in the video. So anyway, enough of my jabber about that. Let's get into the specs of this guitar. All right, so let's start off with the obvious one here, the body. So this is obviously a black guitar. It's kind of a neat paint actually. It's kind of sparkly. You can't really see it, but it does sparkle, believe it or not. Obviously, these are just polka dots that I've added. I just bought a sheet of really nice high-quality polka dots off of eBay for like $5. Did some measurements, stuck them on there, no big deal. Oh, if you're curious about that kind of thing and having the patience to do this, it's not as hard as you think. These are all spaced about 1 inch apart. You can buy painter's tape that's 1 inch wide thick. You'll never guess what I did. That's right, I just did strips and then put the dots in the middle. Easy, folks. Anyway, but yeah, back to the body. So the body on this, obviously we're looking at a Rhoads style V, routed for hum-hum. Really nice cutaway here to get up to these upper frets, which is fantastic, feels good. This is a set neck. So if you look back here, look at that contour. This is really comfortable, nice. Oh, actually, there's a little bit of a bonus here. You see that? Previous owner, for some reason, I guess thought this was a bit neck heavy, and yeah, they moved the strap button there. No idea why they did that, because honestly, this doesn't seem to neck dive. It certainly isn't for me. And if you put a button there, kind of hard to get your hand up there and shred around like an idiot. So not sure why somebody did that. Doesn't really bother me at all. Again, I only paid $200 for this. From the back here, you can see there's your trem route. And yeah, pretty standard stuff. Actually, I got lucky with this one. The horns are in good shape. They're not dinged up. Usually when you get like an old Rhoads V or something like a Kelly, anything with pointy edges, and it's more than like, oh, I don't know, 2 years old, you're gonna find a lot of dings and dents, especially on the points. Those are the first point of contact with somebody or something. From what I can find on the internet, the body itself is mahogany. And I will say this particular piece of mahogany here is extremely light. Like, this is not really heavy at all to play with, which is kind of refreshing. Some of the guitars I've been playing lately have been a bit more on the girthy side, and yeah, I've got a bad back. That doesn't help. The other thing is the pickguard itself. I don't know if I get this to show in the light. Oh, there we go. It's kind of a carbon fiber look. I don't mind this. Actually, I think it looks kind of neat. I don't know if I would choose this myself, but again, the guitar was cheap enough, didn't care, and I like the actual shape of the pickguard and just the way it's done. Just because it does remind me kind of like a Rhoads V or a Gibson Flying V crossed together, which is kind of neat. And yeah, I've been after one of these kind of guitars forever. Way back when I used to have a Kramer Vanguard that I really enjoyed, and it was this kind of shape. And I sold it back then because I was playing out live a lot, and yeah, I was crashing into people a lot with the end piece there, and it was annoying me. That, you really can't play these sitting down. I mean, you can, but it's not super comfortable. And at the time I was doing a lot of practicing at home sitting down with just that guitar. It drove me nuts. So yeah, was looking for one of these and pretty happy with this find. All right, the neck. So the neck itself, as you can see here, is a painted glossed black neck. This is, of course, a set neck construction, so it's extremely comfortable. As you've probably already noticed, way up here, you have 24 frets for shredding around like a maniac. The frets are jumbo. The fingerboard itself is rosewood, and your radius is about 15.5 inches. So it's a pretty flat shredder, feels great. The profile itself is a C profile, at least they're calling it a C profile. It's definitely not like a Fender feeling C, but it's not thin like a Jackson either. Somewhere in between. Actually, I really like this. I was a bit worried it'd be super duper thin like an Ibanez or a Jackson, like a modern Jackson Dinky or something, really thin shreddy necks. I'm not crazy about those. I find I get a hand cramp when I play them. Just really not my jam. This though is quite comfortable. So yeah, that's a pretty great bonus. Oh, one thing I probably also should mention about the neck is it is constructed out of 3-piece maple, and I think you get a little bit of a glimpse of it right there on the end. Now, the one thing you've probably already noticed being these things here, my Space Invaders fret markers. These are just stickers, and the reason they're on here is, this is my only gripe with this guitar. Behind these fret stickers were kind of these really cheesy Biohazard looking inlays, but that's not the really problematic part. The issue I have with them is basically, you can see up here where there's some behind my two little Space Invader thingies coming down. That is where they stop. Yeah, that's right, folks. For some reason, they only did inlays up until the 12th fret, which I gotta say is really weird. I mean, you've got a 24 fret guitar with a cutaway up here. You'd think somebody might be up here doing finger gymnastics, so it's, at least for me anyway, it's really helpful if I can see what I'm playing. So that was a big no-no. I decided I needed to put something on here just so I could, of course, see what the heck I was playing. So I was perusing eBay and Amazon, and yeah, I came across this stuff here, my cheesy Space Invaders stickers. Now these are supposed to last for, I think, 2 years is what they say. Yeah, I'll believe that if they make it past a year. Just when I was shooting that video last week, I ended up taking, I guess it's like a laminate top off of the stickers just with all my bends. I'm assuming most people that buy these probably aren't bending and playing around like a maniac. I will say though, the stickers don't really impede your bends or anything like that, other than if the laminate comes off because then it gets caught in the strings. A little weird, but again, that's not a fault with the manufacturer, because these stickers are obviously aftermarket. But the fault with manufacturers is, why on earth would you make a guitar like this and then only put inlays up until the 12th? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, that's why those are on there. Oh, and of course they also look really cool. That and they're obnoxious. And as you guys might have noticed, if you follow this channel at all, I tend to like loud, obnoxious guitars. Yeah, I don't know. Well, while we're doing this neck thing, here is the headstock itself. Pretty nice, a little reminiscent of an Ibanez. The logo itself is textured, which is kind of neat, and it's very silver and chromy or whatever and shiny. Obviously your truss rod adjustment is up here behind that pick. Not sure what the nut size on this. I'm gonna go ahead and guess probably an R2, maybe an R3. On the back here, you have a little volute right there, which is kind of nice in case you drop it. A little extra protection, I suppose, and strength. Back of the headstock is pretty standard. The tuners on this actually feel pretty good. They're just the stock tuners. I have no idea what they are. The ratios on them feel pretty decent. They're not notchy to move or anything like that. You can also see here, there's the serial number, and this one is made in Indonesia. A lot of the modern Corts are made in one of their Indonesian facilities, and I think they're making other stuff out of that facility as well for other manufacturers. But yeah, that's the neck. I gotta say, so far I am quite enjoying the neck. My favorite part, aside from multiple frets, is definitely this access. Extremely comfortable. Will say though, why weren't there fret markers past the 12th? And seriously, Biohazards. Nope, nobody wants that stuff on their guitar. Okay, so the hardware. Not much I can really tell you about the hardware. It seems to be pretty decent. Everything is blacked out, obviously, everywhere, which is probably the look they were going to, considering the Biohazard inlays. Gotta say, so far, no problems with the hardware. We're looking at just, a three-way switch here. Neck, middle, bridge. No interesting push-pull or splitting options, anything like that going on. So far, so good. This is where they have the input jack, which is actually not a bad spot there. If you stick it in there and run it around, it's not too bad. I hate the ones that just go straight back out. So you plug into those and you've got this, you know, protrusion, especially if you play sitting down, which can be a little irritating. So this was a nice little touch. Yeah, no real complaints about the hardware. Would have been nice maybe to get, you know, some Allen wrenches back here on a holder or something, but for $200, yeah, I can live without them, honestly. So the pickups here, you can probably see it, it's written right on them. They're called EMG-HZ pickups. I don't know a heck of a lot about these. These are what came stock in the guitar. I honestly like the sound of these. I don't think I'm gonna change them. I was pleasantly surprised when I plugged this in and played it. Just how clear these did sound. I thought they'd be a lot muddier and just not great for the money. But yeah, no, these are pretty decent. I think I'm gonna leave them in here. All right, the bridge, the important part with the silly stick. All right, so this is obviously a Cort branded bridge, which is a Floyd Rose style bridge. Interesting, they're calling this the double locking two bridge. Now, I don't know why they're calling it the double locking two bridge. That's what I've been finding in everything I can find. But if you look at it really closely, I mean, just with these style of screws here, and just the way that base plate looks, this looks a lot like an old Floyd Rose tube. You know, one of those Schaller-made Floyd Rose tubes. Like even the notches here on the saddles is kind of consistent with that. No idea if that's what this is and just branded Cort, but I do have to admit this bridge does stay in tune, which again is something I did not think it would for a whopping $200. And it's old. I mean, usually when you buy something like this, you can actually see it. I don't know if you can see my posts in here. Let me see if I can get an angle on there so you can see it. Clearly somebody has, you know, adjusted this at some point with the bridge fully tensioned and just been gouging, you know, into there, which of course creates dullness on your blade and just makes it a real challenge to get these things to return to pitch. This one is defying that. It returns to pitch, so not going to change this bridge. I'm happy with it. It stays in tune. And yeah, again, I'm not too sure. If anyone does know who is actually making these bridges and branding them for Cort, it looks a lot like a Schaller produced Floyd Rose 2. And I know the old Floyd Rose 2s back in like, you know, the 90s, you'd find them on cheaper guitars, and they were pretty half decent. Even in the 80s, I think I've got a couple guitars with Floyd Rose 2s from around 89 or 90-ish. But yeah, so far, pretty decent bridge. Quite happy with it. All right, things you probably shouldn't play on a shreddy guitar. Let's go. Here are some clean tones in the bridge. And here's the middle. The neck. So yeah, pretty clear, not too bad. What you probably want, especially with a guitar like this, is screaming overdrive and blistering leads. So yeah, let me see what I can do for you guys. There we go. Alright, so there you have it. That is my complete review on the Cort VX-4V set neck, mahogany bodied, maple necked, Rhoads V shred guitar thing that I bought for a whopping $200 used. Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty darn good guitar for the money. Again, I haven't changed anything on this. The only things you see here that aren't stock are just things to make it more outrageous, because I like outrageous things. And of course the fret inlay sticker things, just because I couldn't see where the heck I was playing. But aside from that, yeah, this direct, just to play one of these, good guitar. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, Cort. This is a pretty solid instrument. I don't know what these retailed for when they were new. I'm gonna guess probably around $500-600 bucks. Which, you know what? Probably worth it for the quality you're getting here. I gotta say, there are no blemishes on this aside from, you know, this mark right here from a previous owner drilling into the neck to try and get it to sit, I guess, a little bit more level. Honestly, I don't see any neck dive with this, and you don't need to do that. But yeah, aside from that, this thing is honestly blemish free. Again, no parts missing from any of the pointy bits, which is just astonishing. Anyway, that's it. That's my review on this obnoxious Cort V. If you like this review, if you like the content, if you learn anything, please make sure you hit like and subscribe and help this channel grow. I'm getting really close to 1,000 subs. With your help, I just might get there. Anyway, guys, again, hope you enjoyed it. Have yourself a great rest of the day, and we'll talk to you in the next video. Bye for now.